Yeah, I'm entering the Vito
Valder
match.
and
Yeah. Alsame, maybe?
wanna watch it?
Alsame is probably playing too.
Alsam is done.
Oh, okay.
So we have Vito and Valder that might be interesting. Or you wanna look at
Uh,
some more newbies?
yeah, I opened the Vito match. He's playing Vesper
Alright.
versus Twins. Now this is a match I like. I really like the Outlaws. I think they're all super interesting characters. And now we're catching up to what's happening. What was the Vito seed?
Oh, Ash is waiting for his opponent. Okay. Yeah, that's what happened with Loveless too. He said he'd be late, and then if he wasn't there in an hour after that, he just accepted the DQ.
Yeah, makes sense. Okay, we caught up. So, how is this game going?
Oh, well, I didn't catch up yet. They both went for the backwards CO routes. Oh, hang on. Avel went even more backwards. I'll just catch up, then we can talk about the same stuff.
Yeah. It should be fast enough. Evil is like super weirdly positioned on the map too.
I mean, I know Vito hasn't practiced the 1v1 timer a lot before GoW4 because he, like, a bit before, after we announced GoW4 and stuff, he wasn't really planning to join, but then because of the whole situation of the world, you know,
Yeah.
he just has a bunch of time now. Yay.
I know it's bad for the world, but the tournament kind of benefited it. In a weird way.
Telling you, it's a GoW4 conspiracy.
The Groove of War Labs were creating it.
We're still pretty early in timers, actually.
Yeah, this game started late. This is still turn 6.
I see a lot of pikes on Vito's side.
Well, he was a player of the Pike Spam era, so I would expect as much.
Yes, he is
Hmm.
one of the remnants of the pike spam.
And it's actually still good. Like, it's actually still a super viable strategy. It's just not overwhelming like it was before.
Well, I feel like you can go two ways about it. You can have a few pikes here and there in your army composition, and like you can make pretty good use of pikes that way. Like just have 2 pikes here and there. But the thing is, since they are way more expensive, like losing them or having them poked is really, it hurts way more than before.
Absolutely.
But you can also get a way of pike spam very heavy, like Vito is kinda doing right now, where you're basically saying you don't really have what it takes to deal with that, and the investment is worth it. And it's a strategy that has weaknesses because, even though it's really hard to stop a pike blob, you well, knights are still pretty good against pike blobs because they can just go elsewhere and decap all your villages.
Yeah, absolutely. It's what you need to do if you start seeing too much spearmen, obviously. Whatever they are built, you just attack elsewhere. Like exactly like we saw with the Valdermesh shenanigans on the Valder play on Gilgamesh, where where the spears were completely useless because you just overwhelmed your opponent before they could get to the front. So
Yeah,
spears definitely
spears
have
need
weaknesses.
position before they act.
Yeah, they take a long time to get to the front, but you can still make use of them. Definitely. Honestly, you kind of need to. Anyway, one of the things that I think has been shown to be uh, very real is as soon as you don't make spearmen, you're just giving the other player the green card to just make knights, because knights are good against almost every other single unit in the game. That's not a flyer or something like that. So you kind of need to have at least a few spearmen sprinkled here and there to stop them from just massing knights over and over and over.
I mean, to be honest, like when people knight spam against me, like pike spam isn't a good answer.
Yeah, I'm not saying bike spam. I'm saying you need to sprinkle a few spearmen here and there, because if you don't,
Yeah,
it's
but you
really
know
hard.
what really counters knights?
I'm waiting on it.
Well, dogs, of course.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, but that's a secret. I knew that. I just didn't
Oh,
want to
yeah,
say
my
it on
bad.
like we're on stream. I was not gonna say it. Like
Yeah,
now everyone
dogs
knows.
lose to knights.
Now next time I go into quick play, all I will see when I make knights is dogs, and it will all be your fault. Oh.
Well, I mean, it is a bit RNG dependent, I will say, but they sure do counter knights pretty hard.
Oh yeah. Well, if you can get four dogs around the night, it might not be a bad idea.
All right. On a little more serious note, I think like golem and air units kinda counter knights, but only in big formations. Because when it's just like a few units wandering across the map and density is pretty low, you just kinda need knights against to go up against the knights.
I
Hmm.
definitely agree that usually you almost always want to have at least a few in your composition because they're so good at finishing games. Um, but it's definitely a unit that you need to keep in check every game. You always need to have some kind of solution in your strategy uh, if your opponent starts doing too many knights. Be it a harpy play on a smaller map, I would never advise anyone to play harpies on big maps because they never get anywhere, and you just get when you get there, there's mages there. But on small maps, harpies can actually be a great counter to knights. Uh,
Mm, both players did a harpy actually. And well, there's only one mage on each side, so I guess it kind of makes sense.
yeah, and we've seen harpies last game
But
from both players
the
too.
harpy
So
is on this side of the mage, so it's a little weird.
it's probably just gonna fly to the other side of the map or something.
Yeah, air units are not that bad on Rustic, even though they, like, because of all the flagstones, their start is pretty delayed. The fact that the center is full mountains means that only air units can really cross fast. But I'd say balloons do that better than harpies.
I think if you get the those big skirmishes in the middle with big clumps of armies on both sides, harpies can definitely be really good. But on this map, I don't think everyone going to the middle is all that good because it usually will favor one of the players very heavily, and it's awesome when it happens to you, but it's really bad when it doesn't, because one player will just be able to completely control the mountains, and the other player will just be playing in a honestly very bad position. So usually what I've been seeing on my games and the games I've been watching is most players just split up and have one force trying to get to headquarters and the other force is trying to defend. Uh,
But I think that's more due to the opening strategy.
no, absolutely.
But there are certainly openings where the CEO goes more towards the center to get groove out of the center village. And then it has
I
the
think that's the better
option of
opening
like
too.
switching sides.
Yeah, I think getting the CO at the center at the start. I think it's on this map is really good. It's definitely one of the better openings, if not the best. Uh, but I think that after you go to the center, you get the village, you get the groove, and then you start leaning to one of the sides, depending on what kind of strategy you're making. But usually, since you're near your opponent's HQ, it's usually where you stay. So, but staying in the middle per se usually uh, incurs in quite a bit of risk.
Well, it's not about just the middle, it's about being able to go both sides. Really.
Yeah, but it's so hard to move in the middle because of all the trees in the mountains.
Yeah, I agree.
And that's the thing. Like he has this chunk in the middle, and if Evel tried to defend on this side, you would have forests, while his opponent, if he wanted to attack in, he would have to place his units in the road against the forest, and that would basically be terrible. It's kind of hard to attack here in the middle in general, and
I
it's hard for one of the players. It's good for the other, which makes it a weird place to set up your defense. And now Evil is doing the same mistake we saw on last game by Sanko. I think it was the name of the player, where he's pulling a bit too much back. Like,
Hmm. I'm not sure because there's no like knights or golems that can hit the HQ right now
for now,
for
yeah,
the
but
for the south at least. Like next turn, if the pikes are ballooned forward, then it'll be a big problem. But I think for now he has ways to push back Vesper if the army tries to go for the HQ. I doubt Vito will go for that. He's more
Vito,
of
no, no,
the
no, I wasn't, I
he's
wasn't
more
saying
of
you would go
the
to do it.
slowly push you until you die.
No, yeah, I agree with that. I was just saying that he's
But
playing a bit
North,
too defensive. He doesn't need to
yeah,
be this
he
far
is
back.
playing very defensive. But North, he doesn't have a lot of units because he sent some south to defend, and because of his uh, not very optimal opening, his commander got very little activity, and he basically reached the front line this turn. So I don't think it was. I don't think. Well, with the opening that he played, uh, which could definitely be better. My bad. Um, there were. I don't think he could have gotten much more out of the north at this stage of the game. But I'm not sure sending troops down is the right call because they're gonna take forever to get there, and the pipeline is gonna move forward, and you want troops to defend your archer so that it can poke at the spears. Hmm.
He's
Well,
definitely taking away all the
Vesper's.
pressure at the top, which makes Vito play a lot. Be able to pick and choose what he needs instead of having to be forced into bad decisions. Um,
Yeah, I think playing defensively is not bad when you're not too experimented with the game.
I would say it's dangerous against good players because
Yeah, I mean,
Vito will
it
now
it
get
will
an
it
economy
will.
lead.
The thing is, if you can spot the enemy's mistakes, it's way easier to play that way than to try to force the opponent to make mistakes yourself. However, when you're against an opponent like Vito, chances are you might not ever see these mistakes because you're not applying enough pressure for him to do it.
Oh yeah, and Vito is a slow player, so Vito will only make mistakes if you force him to make mistakes. You got to put him in situations where there are no good decisions, and then you'll see plays where you can exploit it. But playing like this, I don't think Vito will make any mistake. Not that he will play a perfect strategy. That's not what I mean. What I mean is he'll not put his units in places where you can pick off stuff for free and plays like that.
Of course.
Like
With the South Village, actually, I'm kind of surprised he chose not to. Actually, it makes sense to attack with Vesper first, but he's not getting a lot of groove out of this village. And like, if he kind of rushed to get more groove by like damaging his mage a bit or a sword, I'm not sure swords could hit it, but you know, it would have been pretty devastating to get groove and just like drop your pikes next to the HQ, you know. That's one of the things Vesper does best is attack the HQ, smoke, next turn finish off the HQ.
Yeah, that seems to be the play he's going for, but he's quite far off of that. He only has 70% group, so he is slow, so that means he's still around 60 points off. So you would need to wait a turn and kill a unit before he would get it, or wait something like 6 turns if he doesn't fight at all. So he's still very far off.
Mm. Well,
But
what we could also see happening is Vesper building groove on the south and then grooving across the map. That's something that happens a lot on this map, I notice.
oh yeah, there was a game yesterday, a casual between Vito and Timekey, where Vito actually Vesper was on the top and Vesper at the bottom, and it actually won the game a few turns later. Uh, it's definitely a part of the Vesper toolkit that's really impressive when it works. The complete map-wide area of effect is it's pretty insane at point or at times. I mean,
Alright, so Avel is a little down on time, but I don't think it'll be an issue. For now, at least. The pikes were dropped like in either safe range, but not in range to attack the HQ, so I think the HQ is still safe for now. Vito's probably gonna wait for his golem, so
I don't think Vito has any intention of attacking right now. He's just playing it safe.
yeah, maybe a little. I mean, he is pushing slowly, but yeah, that's the problem with pikes is the knights can just go elsewhere and decap a village, and when you've put your entire blob into decapping, and then there's just one knight that goes somewhere else and does the same.
Yeah.
Mm. We could potentially see a rifle on Avel's side. Wouldn't be too bad because it hurts like basically everything.
It would
Besides
definitely
Vesper
stop
and
this
the
whole
dog.
play.
I
The
mean, the archer kinda does that already, but we could still see it.
yeah. The archer is really good against this type of composition, but the rifle, if he gets in the right position, can be incredible. The problem is that the rifle on this map, the path is completely crap. So you really need
Yeah,
to spend the money in a balloon too. So it becomes really expensive.
yeah, and never try to do it with a wagon. It's not my strat. uh,
I've tried it
with
on
the
some maps,
wagon,
but
it's
no, not so.
yeah. I tried to rifle wagon on this map actually, because the rifle can walk it up the first turn, and then hop into a wagon, and then you can just drop it on the mountains in the center, and then it basically controls the enemy barracks and both fronts, and can be really annoying to deal. Although the thing is, you have to control the center to do that, so there's that. I don't think it's a play you can make very often, but in situations like this, a rifle would basically stop Vitto's push on the HQ. So I don't dislike it because it has value the turn it spawns. I think that's the cutting point for the rifles is either you already have transports actively, well, transporting, or when you spawn them, they have to be active.
It's kind of a property of their price, right? They're so expensive. Because if you're making a rifleman, you're not making a golem, you're making a knight to account for that
I mean,
difference in price. So
it's cheaper than a ballista.
yeah. Well, cheaper than a ballista. It's on a lot of maps not much better.
I've tried rifle and ballista on this map. I can tell you rifle is much better. Hmm. Yep, so Vito is sending the Harpy more towards the center to push the knight away from this barracks, I guess. Although the pike would have done it too. But I guess the Harpy can make its way to the HQ. Harpies don't have bad damage to structures. They can do like above 20 to HQ. That's not bad.
Uh,
I'm curious if he's gonna push the north front or if he's just gonna sit there and wait until the south wins.
I'm tempted to say he's gonna stay there the rest of the match. Vito is not gonna push, and Devil doesn't seem inclined to attack at all.
I guess the archer kinda stops his pike line from moving forward. And if the thing is, twins are still far away from Groove, so there's no real threat to the HQ right now until the knight comes in. That's but if Avel can get Groove and position his knight, I think he's still in the game.
No, he's definitely still in the game. Like both players have most of their economy intact, and their armies, like, it's not a big difference. Like 200 gold is a bit, but it's not insane. So it's not like one of them is way ahead of the other, be it on army or economy. Um, but the problem Evil is having here is, in my opinion, is too much passivity. Like, he's not threatening anything, and Vito is happy about it. Like, Vito,
Well, I think Vito is only threatening right now. You could say the same about it. Or maybe I'm just wanting to see mistakes, you know?
yeah. We all want. we that's what the joy of the game.
The golem is coming closer, so that's definitely gonna be a problem for Evil. There's only one mage, so a dragon could not be a bad option, but he doesn't have the money for it.
It's actually a bit weird that he only has a mage, uh, since Evil already has two RP. So even if he didn't intend to make any heals, at least having two mages uh, would make sense.
Yeah, I think Vito is lacking mages quite a bit, Sam. That's why I think a rifle or another archer is kind of appealing. Well, not that much now that the golem is here, but it's pretty, like, you can make an argument for it because they damage mages pretty heavily.
I think right now Vito's army would benefit from a mage quite a bit. From more mages, I mean, not a single mage. Because he already has a golem, and golems are one of those units that almost pay for the heal themselves every time they get healed. Because you're basically healing 240 gold. Um,
Oh yeah, healing a golem with the mage is definitely, it's just pretty much worth it if it can allow the golem to attack again.
yeah. As soon as you start making golems, you really want them backed up by mages. And right now, this golem doesn't have the right support, I would say. It's definitely threatening, because Evil, while he has quite a few units, his army is very spread. Like, we don't really see a theme of what he wants to do. It's like it's a smattering of units, a bunch of each.
Yeah, but I think that's not bad in 2.0. Like, the fact that he has an archer basically, like, allows him to hold both fronts, I think. These archers are central pieces of Evil's army. And that's probably because they were built to counter Vito's army, which are a lot of pikes. And that's kind of a problem with pikes.
The archer definitely helps. I just don't know if they.
So you see that sword staff? It's in a bit of a weird position, but I think that Evil should, like, it could actually start all the trading, this single archer staff. Because if Evil goes for it, he'll be a little bit exposed and Vito might attack these units, and that will basically start the entire collapse of everything.
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if Vito was thinking about it when he placed the sword there.
I mean,
Because
for now, Evil could just get a free hit with his archer, but you know, it's not. I don't really like it because you send the archer too much south.
not only that, because you moved the archer, if Vito then moved his stuff forward, the archer wouldn't be able. Even if the archer was now able, was still able to attack the spear position, it would no longer be critting. So it would, it would be in a weaker
But
position.
there's the rifle.
Oh yeah, that's the
I
rifle.
guess yeah. If he moves the archer down, it basically cuts down the area the archer is covering by half, which isn't that good.
And the knight goes back again. This game seems like it's gonna be stay like this um, until
Abel
Vesper
will
Groove.
start running out of time eventually.
Yeah.
But yeah, when someone gets a groove, things are gonna accelerate pretty fast. I'm curious to see what Abel will do with the North rounds. Also, I think defensive play isn't that great with timers because, well, if you're playing defensive, you're not working towards a win condition. And, well, if the timers are about even, but you're the one playing defensive, the opponent can just play not very optimal and fast, and you won't really have time to get to your win condition. So I guess timers at least kind of force a more proactive play.
I don't know if I agree with that. Like, if you're playing defensive, as soon as you place your defensive structure somewhere, you can just accept that that defensive structure is good until your opponent does something that forces you to change, and then you leave that structure like that. If you start sprinkling those defensive structures everywhere, and you just don't want to push because you're trying to win on the timer, you can actually start playing really fast turns, and if you ever get into that position and you're ahead on clock, it really forces your opponent to start playing himself fast, and it becomes really dangerous. So I think there's a case to be made about playing both fast and slow with timers. It really changes the way you should be playing.
I'm not sure if I agree because generally when you play defensive, you cover less terrain, and nature of that will be that there's a few villages that you can't contest, and generally you get less grooves, so you have to play very carefully to play defensive. And ooh, Vito is starting the hostilities. And Vesper Groove is ready, so
That's an interesting
I
soldier's
think
attack.
things are going to go down pretty fast.
I think this was what we expected, right? As soon as he got groove, that was the moment to move.
Mm, it could be bad if his force takes too much damage on this counterattack, though. Because Vito has to somewhat cover Vesper, I think. But not too much. Yeah, that's a good option.
I think
Just
he'll have to move most of his
capture the
stuff down.
village.
Because those two soldiers will die immediately. Because he'll just attack with the first spearman, and the second one will kill the second soldier. Um, and the Vesper will, if he doesn't move stuff down, will be attackable on three fronts. So
Yeah, but capturing that village basically means the knight can't go behind for free.
yeah, that's what I meant. Like he needed to move his stuff to block
But
the
there's
knight from
still
going
like
around.
I think the problem Vito has is he still only has one mage. And there's two harpies. So they can just go and every they can just go hit stuff, and the mage will basically have to either not punish or suicide into one of them. That's not gonna be enough.
I agree with that. And honestly, I don't know if this play from Vito was any good. Like, I think he's very exposed right now.
Mm. I think the way Avel plays his turn is probably gonna dictate how this match goes.
Absolutely. I, I, oh yeah, this is even worse than I was thinking. The rifleman will actually kill the first soldier.
I think moving the rifleman forward would be like one square would be better value than finishing up the sword, to be honest.
I would
Because
agree
he
with
has a,
I would
the,
agree
the
with
back
that, but it really depends on how much value we can take out of getting an extra attack with this with the spearman.
I mean, basically killing the sword has no value because there's a pike that can only do that on Abel's side. And, well, what's the pike gonna do otherwise, you know? The rifle shooting down. The sword doesn't give more value to the army in front, so that's what I mean. That, like, you might as well just move it forward.
I'm actually really interested in how Evel is going to play this. Because Evel should be able to clear a bunch of units.
The golem has arrived though, so that's a big problem because Vesper Groove is on the table, and
Yeah, because he has Vesper
the
Groove.
golem could if the golem is allowed to attack the HQ this turn, that's GG.
Yeah, that's the whole problem. And he used... okay, with this I can't
Abel has
agree.
to be very aggressive right now.
Yeah, but this archer play I just can't agree with it. I don't think it was
Oh
a
yeah,
good play.
no.
Like, this archer needed to attack the spearman.
Even the mage, to be honest. The archer going down, attacking the mage would have been pretty good, because then what's gonna remove the harpies, you know?
Yeah. And again, there's the play you were talking earlier where he has groove, so Golem goes forward,
I'm
attacks.
not really liking that position.
Yeah.
He the only way I see him catching this up and it's basically scraping for a solution to mistakes is basically putting his two harpies in front of the HQ.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably the only thing he can do right now. Donate an RP. So he doesn't die.
And even then, it's pretty bad because Vito has a harpy crit on that archer.
Vito is going to demolish a bunch of those units now.
A lot of stuff. That's,
This was not the right way to do this play. At least I don't think so. I'm not seeing how this is any better than...
Up north, I think he's also being too defensive again. Like, when the pikes step up into the archer's range, that's the signal where you have to consider attacking into them, because if you don't, when are you going to?
Yeah.
Vito could just... Right now, Vito could just kill... You could even kill units and groove. And he would probably still be in a very good spot.
Depending on what Evel does now, Evel is dead. Okay, I think he's actually dead.
Yeah, we're
He
seeing the end of the
yeah.
game.
The play here should be the RP should kill the archer. The golem should move forward. The balloon should go on top of the archer position. Groove with Vesper inside the groove. The golem, the balloon, so he didn't die, and the RP. And that was it. And that's it. Pass the turn and win.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Also, just move your pikes forward to be able to crit, because
yeah, but it doesn't even need it. Like the HQ is completely exposed.
Hang on, do Harpy crit one-shot archers?
Yeah, I think so. Oh, how did it not die? How much? 7%? I was convinced he was gonna die. Bah. Okay, then now he needs to move the dog too. I actually thought this was gonna kill him.
Yeah, because Harpy crit has like lower.
It's 25% or 35 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's 25. That's, and compared to the other crits, it's pretty pathetic, to be honest.
I don't think it really changes the equation much, but the play should be around the same. But let's see.
Well, now he doesn't have a guaranteed access to two sides next turn. So he'll have to work a little more for it, let's say. But I still don't see how he's gonna cover the top with something that won't die.
Yeah. The mate should now move in and heal his stuff.
Like, he doesn't have anything tanky enough to cover the top spot. Because he's gonna need pikes to cover the bottom. A knight wouldn't be a very good choice, because there's a Harpy crit literally on that square. And Harpy wouldn't work, because there's still a mage and a witch. And yeah, it's gonna be really difficult. On the good side, Vitto doesn't have indirects on his side, so
I think the
it's gonna, like, if he can do a wall that cannot be where all the units cannot die in 1 or 2 hits, then it's gonna be really good for him.
I think the only unit he can place on the archer spot, if I'm not mistaken, is the knight. All other units would die. But I don't think he can kill the knight in one hit, right?
But he would probably also have to cover the top of the knight.
Oh yeah. He's probably gonna have to sacrifice a bunch just not to die.
Yep. And up north, Vitto is just moving back, because why not?
Yeah, I always do this on my games. If I know I'm winning on the other side, I just go like, I just need not to die. Come on.
I should do that more.
Yeah. And
well, the Harpy crit would do about the same to the knight as the archer, so I think with a hex, then even the knight cannot cover the top, so it might have to be a pike. But then the golem has the option to move up in the place of the harpy and one-shot a pike if it's standing there, and then that opens up the spot for the commander, and pikes can just finish off the HQ from where the golem was. So I don't really see any way out for Evil.
Yeah, even the knight, I thought it might be enough, but but I'm looking at it, and it would still be a coin toss because the knight takes 90% off the golem, So it would be a coin toss because if you had less than 10%,
It would be a little less than a coin toss actually, because planes are like that.
Oh yeah. It would be something like 86, something weird like that.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the thing is, what do you put on top of the knight that cannot be killed?
That is an
Do you
excellent
put
question.
if you put another knight, it's probably dead because there's an easy pike crit coming for it. And then there's also gonna be a witch hex. If you cover with a harpy or with 2 harpies, there's a mage and a witch. If you cover with a pike, the golem can still one-shot it.
Yeah. He's definitely sacrificing a bunch of stuff right now.
I mean, I don't think I see him surviving the next turn.
Well, I don't think at all he's going to survive. But we'll see.
Yeah, he's blocking with harpy. That's not gonna work.
Yeah, that's just dead. That is indeed over. The mage just gets on top of the mountain, kills the RP, and that's it.
The witch kills the harpy.
Or that. It's the same. It's the exact same result, so.
Yeah, I guess.
But the thing is, he can put stuff on top of the harpy to defend it, but
Yeah, but the harpy will get one-shotted, so...
Yeah. The square on the left of the harpy is occupied by a unit that can't be attacked, so that's guaranteed. This is the annoying part of the Vesper groove. It basically denies you.
Well, I think it has more to do with Avel's last turn than Vesper Groove, to be honest.
Yeah, he really
Even
needed
if
to
he
defend.
could attack into all this, I'm not sure if he could actually survive like 2 turns.
Yeah. I don't think Vito has a much stronger army at all than Evel. It's just that as soon as he got Groove, Evel had to move forward or get to deal with it.
Yeah, at least damage the army. That's what.
Yeah. The golem could not be allowed to attack.
Yeah, a witch would have been a goodbye last turn too, because you could have prevented witch crit shenanigans too, and witch can still attack inside the smoke with the hex. But yeah, that's pretty much game.
Funny thing, the timer is actually running out.
And here we go.
Let's see how Vito decides to finish this. He actually has more ways than one to do it.
He has a lot of ways.
Yeah.
I don't think he's gonna think about it too much.
He's not gonna play around it. He's just gonna do it. And GG.